If I ever write a memoir, it's going to be titled Walking and Crying. That's going to be the name of my book. I did not expect to be as blown away by this book as I was. I will always, always, always love my thrillers. Don't worry, friends. It really did a number on me. So a little bit, but not at all. Is that a word? I'm going to make it be a word. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse and welcome to another round of books I have read recently. Yes, we are playing catch up. I promise it is worth it. There are some really great books to talk about today. We're going to dive right in. The first book, very outside my wheelhouse. This is Sandwich by Catherine Newman. This is one of those books where I feel like it popped up on a lot of people's favorite books last year, right? Yeah, 2024. What is time? I don't know. And it was one of those books where I was like, maybe. But then I was like, I don't know. There's no thrill to this book. I don't think this is my kind of a book. But earlier this year, like last month or so, I went through a big phase of not reading thrillers, and it was probably in May. This is definitely a side effect of Audrey is working real hard on getting her book done. And when you're writing a thriller, it is really hard to read thrillers. And I now wholly understand, not that I didn't before, but I really, really understand when authors are like, oh yeah, no, I haven't read anything for like the last 6 months because I've been working on my own book. So I've been reading a lot of non-thrillers because I'm not reading a thriller to get ideas, but I can't help it not get inside my head. So anyway, I was like scrolling the library app, what's available, Sandwich came up and I read it. I did not see this book coming. This was in the era when I was also reading the Rebecca Searle book and probably One Golden Summer, but you guys, Walking and Crying. I feel like if I ever write a memoir, it's going to be titled Walking and Crying. That's going to be the name of my book because I was walking through the neighborhood and I was crying my eyes out while I was listening to this book. Sometimes crying because I was laughing, other times crying because I was crushed like a bug. So this was read by Nan McNamara. I couldn't recommend this book more. I feel like it's not going to be a for everybody book. But this is another one of those books that found me at the exact right moment and was everything I needed in a book. It says, from the beloved author of We All Want Impossible Things, which perhaps now I should read that book as well. This is a hilarious story of a family summer vacation full of secrets, lunch, and learning to let go. So our main character is Rocky, and it says for the past 2 decades, she has looked forward to her family's yearly escape to Cape Cod. My family used to go to Cape Cod, not every year all the time, but like when we started to go and we went sometimes. Loved Cape Cod. I lived in Boston. I used to go to Cape Cod all the time with my friends. Sandwich is a town in Cape Cod. So anyway, love me a Cape Cod setting. So it says their humble beach town rental has been the site of sweet memories, sunny days, great meals, and messes of all kinds. Emotional, marital, and thanks to the cottage's ancient plumbing, septic too. This year's vacation with Rocky, sandwiched between her half-grown kids and fully aging parents, promises to be just as delightful as summers past, except perhaps for Rocky's hormonal bouts of rage and melancholy. Hello, menopause. Her body is changing, her life is too. And then a chain of events sends Rocky into the past, reliving both the tenderness and sorrow of a handful of long-ago summers. So it's one precious week, everything is in balance, everything is in flux. And when Rocky comes face to face with her family's history and future, she's forced to accept that she can no longer hide her secrets from the people she loves. This was the case of a book where it is incredibly short. It's 6 hours audiobook. And there is so much impressively packed into this book in a succinct, perfect way. So if anybody is on the hormonal train, maybe that's why a lot of this was relatable for me. I do not have grown children, but I do have aging parents. So there's a lot of that really struck a chord with me. But also what I really connected to, despite not having children, is the way that Rocky is talking about her children and sort of the parents' perspective on them, both when they were younger and as adults. So I want to say her kids are in their early 20s in this. And there's a real dynamic. So she has a son and a daughter. So it's the relationship with both of them. Obviously, I found a lot of connection with the mother-daughter relationship in this. But the pivot of like being the mother to a child and then being the child of aging parents, there was So much to relate to in this. And again, it is, like it says in the description, she's flashing back to summers past. So it's not every summer that they go back to, but pivotal summers, pivotal things that happened. It is the dynamic between her and her husband. It is the relationship between her children. Her son has brought his girlfriend here as well. There's a lot of great humor to it. There's a lot of heavy emotion to this. A lot of weightiness. I feel like that was a word that I didn't use enough when I was talking about One Golden Summer. There's a lot of weightiness. I love a contemporary book with weightiness. And I don't know, maybe it was the writing, maybe it was the narration, maybe it's the story, maybe it was the time. I loved this book. I did not expect it. I expected to this will be good. I did not expect to be as blown away by this book as I was. And it really did a number on me. It really did a number on me. So I wholly enjoyed it. I'm tempted now as I'm sitting here looking at my library app so I can talk to you guys about it. I was like, do I want to get We All Want Impossible Things? I'm going to add it to my audiobook list at the library for next time. But I really enjoyed her as an author. So great storyteller. And again, the way that she could pack so much into such a short book in a meaningful, impactful way, but also really entertaining and really funny and light at moments. And I feel like it's that, because this is life, right? It is light, it is heavy, it is dark, it is complicated, it is easy, it is fun, the entire roller coaster. And it's just, again, captured sort of over this 1 week vacation and then moments of the past. I loved it. Didn't see it coming, didn't expect it. It's kind of like the best way possible. So proof that stepping outside your comfort zone is a place to be. I will always love my thrillers. Don't worry, friends. But every once in a while, a book surprises you in a great way. So that's my recommendation. There's nothing else non-murdery in this pile. Okay, let's talk about The Stalker by Sarah Alderson. There's a part of me that feels like I've talked about this before, but if I have, apologies. And if I haven't, here we go. So I read a few Sarah Alderson books. Let me see if any of them are here. The Weekend Away was one of them. And then something with Friends. I want to say Friends with Benefits, and it's definitely not Friends with Benefits. I'll put it down below. That was the first one of her books that I read. Friends Like These. I think it's Friends Like These. This was another author where didn't know her at all. I think I had read what Friends Like These was about, and I don't remember if I heard somebody reviewing it or I just took a leap of faith and got it, but did not expect how dark that book was. Toxic female friendship. So amazing in all the best ways. So I'm sleeping on her a little bit. She has a handful of books that I need to catch up on, but this is The Stalker. This had some great darkness to it. I wound up listening to the audiobook of this. So this has dual POVs. So it's read by Stephanie Racine, who did a lot of the Alice Feeney books. And now I feel like, did I talk about this in that video where I talked about Alice Feeney? If I did, feel free to skip ahead. And then James MacNaughton is the other POV in this one. This was such a fun time. This was an isolated thriller. They're on their honeymoon, but like a year later. So a little, but not at all, like Alice Feeney, rock, paper, scissors. So a little bit, but not at all. But it's a couple who got married, and now it's a year later. And there's a reason why it took them a year to go on their honeymoon. But they're on a remote island off the coast of Scotland, which also, like Alice Feeney, Beautiful Ugly, a remote island off the coast of Scotland. Let's have all the bad things happen. And newlyweds Liam and Laura are going to spend the week there for their honeymoon paradise. Just them on the island. They rented the place. And, you know, it's going to be amazing, except for the fact that they get there and they find out that the island has a tragic past and they can't shake the feeling of being watched. And then one morning, they wake to find a message scratched onto the window. Their worst fears are confirmed. They aren't alone on the island, and the stranger wants them dead. What? What? You know what else is what? I loved this book. It was so creepy. It was so dark and messed up. This is a case of like, boat drops you off on Monday, catch you next week. Oops, no phones, no satellite, nothing's working, no cell service. What's a couple to do when you're trapped on an island with someone who wants to get you. So it definitely has like that propulsive feeling, has that claustrophobic feeling they're all alone, but they're not all alone. Who wants to get them? Who is there? Why? They don't know where to go. They don't know how to stay safe. They don't know how to survive. So I was reading, what book? The Midnight on Beacon Street. Like, to have to survive the night, have to survive the week. So it's not like a survival story where they're like in the woods, like skinning animals to eat or something really disgusting like that. But they need to survive on this island. And, you know, there's the one cottage. But, you know, when the killer is like scratching stuff on your window, do you really feel safe inside your cottage? I don't think I would. So this was really, really good. And we wind up getting kind of a lot of backstory on them, understanding why it took them a year to have their honeymoon. There's, you know, honeymoon's not, you know, over necessarily when the book starts, but, you know, every relationship's got some stuff to it. And they both have some stuff. And we need to figure out what the stuff is and why they're there and what's going on and who's after them and all that fun stuff. So makes her a fantastic thriller. Did I mention the fact that like I didn't scroll and I missed an entire narrator in this book? So you get dual timelines. Kristin Atherton is also one of the narrators of this book. So multiple POVs, multiple timelines, just lots of really great stuff happening. And I'm not going to tell you anything else about it, but Sarah Alderson is a fantastic page-turning, bingey writer. So her other book, which I already lost the thread to. So her book, The Weekend Away, which takes place in Lisbon, which I read last summer or 2 summers ago, was another one with like a complicated female friendship. It's these two best friends go on this girls' trip. I feel like they're like late 30s maybe, and one is married and the other is not. They go out like for dinner. They wind up meeting some people. They have some people back at their Airbnb. There's a lot of drinking going on. And the next morning, the married friend wakes up and can't find her other friend, and it becomes the search for her. And she does not have much memory of the night before because they drank so much. And she is in a foreign country trying to piece together where her friend is and what happened last night. It's really good. It's really, really good. So if you have not read any Sarah Alderson, I highly recommend her. I feel like she's somebody I'm sleeping on. I feel like I need like books that don't get enough hype kind of a video, because she's one where I feel like give the lady some hype. She very, very, very much deserves it and earns it. And okay, I've got 2 physical books to talk to you about. Okay, the first one I'm going to talk about is a reread I did. So in addition to reading non-thrillers to help my brain, I also love to dive into a reread. So in honor of The Woman in Suite 11 coming out, I just reread The Woman in Cabin 10. So if you guys watched my July most anticipated books, where I realized I had been saying 0 Days was the book you needed to read before The Woman in Suite 11 comes out. Idiot. So it's The Woman in Cabin 10. I listened to this. Imogen Church read it. She has read at least one other Ruth Ware book, because I did listen to The It Girl. She's a fantastic audiobook narrator. I feel like I'm not telling you anything you guys don't already know. But I will be perfectly honest. I was a little worried about rereading this. I read this when it came out. I read this on the heels of In a Dark, Dark Wood, which I still think is my favorite Ruth Ware book. I don't know why I'm grimacing. I know that that's not everybody's favorite, but it was the first one of hers that I read, and man, I loved it. And I feel like I had a little bit of a similar experience to when I read Final Girls, and then not long afterward read Last Time I Lied, and felt let down because Final Girls, dare I say, is still my favorite Riley Sager book. And I feel like I had a similar experience with this, where I liked it, but I didn't love it the way that I loved In a Dark, Dark Wood. And I feel like there's always been a part of me that's like, this was okay. And on the reread, I feel like I really underestimated how great this was. And part of it, I think, was obviously I remembered the ending. This is a book where I really remembered the details, with the exception of one of like the near the end scenes. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I was like, does this happen or does this happen? I 1000% was getting a scene mixed up with something that happens in One by One by Ruth Ware. So I was like kind of waiting for something, and I was like, I'm sure that that's what happened. I'm sure that's where this goes. It absolutely was not where it went. But knowing the ending, which I remembered, and then being able to like see all the clues and like appreciate the like genius of it the second time around, I remembered like a part of this book being slow. And again, maybe it was the audiobook. I did not find this slow at all this time around. So typical Ruth Ware has a very Agatha Christie vibe to it. This one is a luxury cruise liner. We're following Lo. She is a travel journalist. She winds up getting kind of like her big break to go on this luxury trip because her boss is not able to do it. And, you know, you're going to spend the week on this amazing boat and you're going to write about it. And she's on this boat with these, you know, some rich, fabulous people. And she is fairly certain, I want to say it's like the second night that she's on the boat, that she witnesses a body being thrown into the water from the cabin next door, which is cabin 10. But when she reports it, she's told the person who was supposed to occupy cabin 10, this dude, didn't show up, wasn't able to make the trip. So there's nobody in cabin 10. But she's like, but I thought, then I thought, and then I thought. But everybody on the boat is like, no. So we're getting Lo trying to solve a mystery, trying to deal with her own questions in her mind. She enters the boat with some stuff of her own that she's dealing with. And we get a great cast of characters. We get a lot of suspects. We're trying to figure out what's going on. Lo is really struggling to kind of piece together what she saw, what she thought she saw, what she thinks is going on. But there is no proof. There's no evidence. There's nothing. There's just absolutely nothing to back up her story. So what on earth could possibly be going on? And it really is a fun time. And I'm not just saying it because the new book is coming out. I also hate to say that my book has been sitting in New Jersey for 2 days with no movement on it, which gives me a lot of anxiety, but that's a story for a different day. I have the same anxiety Lo has. Get the book to me, dang it. Because now I'm so excited to continue in the story. So I don't want to say anything about Sweet 11, but I definitely think this is a case where you need to read this first, because after I read this, then I was like, actually kind of read the description of Sweet 11 and realized, I mean, I'll say this, like, you probably can and you're going to have a really good time with it. But I think there is an element that will have a different impact if you read this book first. Let's go with that. But there's like some little bursts of mixed media in this. There are some little bursts of kind of like jump forwards, I guess I would say, like some little blips in the map of jumping forward. So we're trying to figure out what is going on, and it's just really, really good. I mean, there's a reason why Ruth Ware is Ruth Ware. It's like out of the camera view, Ruth Ware. Also loving the fact that this is such an old author picture of her where she's so gothic and like in the woods, and this is what I envision like in a dark, dark wood to be. But lots of Agatha Christie nods, and really just a fun book. I really feel like I had a bad memory in my brain where I was shortchanging how good this was and how well done it was. And I'm so excited I reread it because I was a little bit scared to reread it. And I'm really glad I did because I had such a fun time with it. So give it a go if you haven't already. And then I read The Paris Widow by Kimberly Belle. So I read this before Thriller Fest. If you guys have watched my Thriller Fest video, I 1000% fangirled Kimberly Belle in an elevator. I tried not to be weird. I'm sure I failed miserably, but I could not say anything because there she was. And I saw her last year and she was helping to facilitate an event, and I wanted to say something and I chickened out. So I said something to her this year instead. But I have read a handful of Kimberly Belle books and I really enjoy her. So I also feel like she is someone, not that I'm sleeping on her, but like I'll read one of her books and I'm like, why am I not reading more of her books? So she wrote, I was going to say The Good Marriage. Is that the right one? Get the name of her book right before we talk about The Paris Widow. So she wrote The Marriage Lie. Good Marriage is Kimberly McCreet. The Marriage Lie, I think, was the first one of her books that I read. Dear Wife was really good. My Darling Husband, The Personal Assistant. And then she also is one of the collaborators on the Young Rich Widow series, which is also really fun. And I just enjoy her so much. So this almost had, for me, like a Chris Pavoni expats, kind of like espionage-ish vibe to it. Is that a word? I'm going to make it be a word. So we are in Paris, and then there's a few flashbacks to some other wonderful European cities, but take me away. Paris is always a good idea, friends. So a married couple's dream vacation to Paris turns deadly. This is very action-packed. I'm usually not like an action thriller girl, but I was all in for this one because it also weaves in emotion and mystery, and it's not all like action, 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 but there's very page-turny vibes to this one, and I really got pulled all the way into this story. So it says, when Stella met Adam, she thought she had finally found a nice, normal guy, a welcome change from her previous boyfriend and her precarious jet-setter lifestyle with him. But her secure world comes crashing down when Adam goes missing after an explosion in the city square. Unable to reach him, she panics. So the police are investigating what happened, what caused the explosion. They're trying to find some missing people. And Adam is kind of on the police's radar. And Stella's like, what are you talking about? So she starts to find out things about her husband that she never knew. Isn't that always fun? While she's also trying to find out what happened to him, where is he? She's trying to cope with everything that just happened. They were like having coffee at a cafe and going back to the hotel to get their luggage so they could go home last day. And she winds up staying to figure out what happened. So we are 1000% streets of Paris. Atmosphere is perfect. I remember seeing a picture of like Kimberly Belle and Alex Finley, and I feel like they were both like hanging out in Paris, and she was working on this and he was working on If Something Happens to Me. So this is her book that came out last year. I actually bought this at Thriller Fest last year. So I mean, like, send me to Paris to do research on my book. And it is so authentic in all the best ways. Like, you can just feel, she lives in the Netherlands. Her current book, I don't even know if it's set in Amsterdam. I feel like it is. But, like, Kimberly Belle does great research. She was on, like, the Rich People Behaving Badly and, like, Super Bougie Places panel on Thriller Fest. So she brings Paris so much to life. And it's just a really fun thriller. So, again, she's trying to figure out where her husband is. What is he up to? What was he up to? What do the police like want from him? And of course, there's somebody who doesn't want her to get all the answers to all the questions that she has. So danger is afoot. But I would really recommend this one. I just, again, I don't want to say like I forgot how fun her thrillers were, but I kind of forgot how fun her thrillers were. But I really loved The Marriage Lie. That's the one that really sticks out with me. But she's not afraid to do dark and messed up. She's not afraid to do Rich People Behaving Badly. She can really just write a page turner, which is great fun. So I think if you're looking for something quick and bingey, that, you know, maybe if you're in a slump, this is a great way to knock yourself out of it. Or if you just want to escape wherever you are, go to Paris for a little while, go here. Go here. But they also, I want to say, there's like a flashback to Barcelona, and I feel like they're in Italy too. I feel like there's an Italy flashback also. But anyway, take me to Europe any day. And it's just great fun. And I just love like regular people being thrown into extraordinary circumstances and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Always makes for a great book. Always makes for a great book. So that is, I feel like, all caught up as of the time of filming this of what I read. I am about to embark on a re-listen of The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. The Hunting Wives is going to start on Netflix, so I want to reread it before I watch it. I'm so excited for May. This was like supposed to be on Stars. I don't know what happened. Now it's going to be on Netflix. I feel like it was on hold for a while. Like it was filmed and then it was like kind of got stuck somewhere in limbo. So I'm so happy for her that it's coming out. So I'm going to start listening to that. Just got the audio from the library today. And then I'm currently reading The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. I'm like halfway through it. I am still on like a writing is the most important thing right now. So my reading has slowed down, and when I do read, it's in fits and starts, or it's just not a thriller. But I did spend some time over the weekend making a good dent in the ghostwriter, and it's so good. I really want to know what's going to happen. Like, I'm all in for this book. It's just a matter of how many hours are in the day and how many things I want to do, and somewhere in between, you know, something gets sacrificed. So I hate sacrificing reading for life, but sometimes you have to. So anyway, all that to say, stay tuned, because I will finish those books at some point and hopefully finish some more, and I will come back and talk to you guys about it. But until then, I hope everybody is doing fantastic. I hope you're having a great summer. I really hope, speaking for New York, that this feels like 104 nonsense breaks. It's in a very indoorsy kind of a time, which I don't love, but you know, them's the breaks. So I hope you guys are doing great and doing whatever it is you want to be doing and are enjoying the time, and hopefully reading a ton of books. So I will see you guys for some more videos, trying to just dig into some books that need some more love. I think some books that I love that I want to talk about, and I don't know, we'll figure it out when I get there. So I'll see you guys in another video. Until then, take care, have fun. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and I will see you guys then. So bye everybody.